Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Villar. I'm joined by my buddy here, Don Fisher. How are you today, bud?
Man, I'm good, man. It cooled down a little bit today. It was a cinema day. Went and saw me a little Blue Beetle. Finally got to watch it. I feel like what was a lie though? Not a lie, but their whole cinema day thing was any movie, $4, any format. Y'all didn't show anything in IMAX that I wanted to see or that I hadn't already seen. Like I even thought about I'll see Blue Beetle in IMAX on Saturday since they're not doing it on Sunday. They had no showtimes on Saturday that when I looked, so I'm like, all right, let me go on Sunday. Like it's cool, but like I wanted to see it how it was shot, and I didn't have that opportunity. But I mean, it's fine. It's fine. $4 for everybody is cool. I saw a lot of people that were there. It's really nice to for people to get out. You know, we all know that movies are hella expensive, especially if you have a family. So for at least to be one day out of the year, on a weekend, it's not like a mystery movie or a Tuesday where it's cheaper. To have it on a weekend where everybody can go with their families, this is cool.
What? My thing is this: why don't they have this once a month?
They should.
Legitimately, why is this not once a month? Why are we not having first off, it brings people to the theaters. As you can tell, there's going to be a lot of movies this weekend that are going to have a little bit bigger box office than anticipated because of that. But yeah, I was going to go this morning because another thing I really loved is they had a 9:45 showing this morning of Blue Beetle. I was like, fuck yeah. I love going to the movie theater that early in the morning.
Yeah.
First things first, you can get it out of the way and you still have the rest of your day ahead of you. When you're planning a movie theater trip, it's a 3-hour experience. You know what I mean? And that's not if you're going to see a longer movie, it could be an even longer experience. You know what I mean? So it was definitely interesting. I saw Blue Beetle. I don't know where people they said they saw a good movie, but it is what it is. Dude, I hated Blue Beetle, so
I thought it was cool.
It bored as fuck, man.
It doesn't give you the full superhero vibe, but I do think the formula is good. I know it does kind of mirror the Marvel aspect.
It mirrors every fucking comic book movie I've ever origin story.
Yeah, and I think I realized why Marvel is more successful than DC when it comes to the franchises is the fact that, and when I got to thinking about it, Marvel centers every single film around family. Maybe not like the heroes' family, but the camaraderie of the heroes together, whether it's Guardians, whether it's an Avengers movie, there's always some kind of family aspect. And the DC characters, since they're always overpowered, they're by themselves. They don't want to work with nobody, and when they do, they don't really get along. So it's I think that's what's where the disconnect is you need this kind of warmth. And Superman doesn't scream warmth. Batman definitely doesn't scream warmth. So I think that's where they lose people sometimes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't know, man. It was very boring. It was way too long, man. 2 hours, 7 minutes or whatever it was. It felt long. The first 45 minutes to me was super boring. Just the build up. But I think the biggest thing to me was it just felt like every other comic book movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Origin story wise, it didn't feel like it was fresh, unique. I do love there's elements about it that are good and heartwarming. The story's solid. There's some good in it.
Hey, George Lopez was
Lopez was fucking a banger, bro. He was making me laugh the entire time. But yeah, we've got that's not, and what's crazy? It's not even the first movie I'm going to bash on this podcast today. So that's cool, though. You know what I mean? We've got a star-studded affair of bangers to talk about today. To do just a quick rundown of today's show, we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. The trailer came out this past week. We're going to talk about that. For the news of the week, we're going to talk about Dune 2. For movie reviews, we got a double header for you guys. We got Vacation Friends 2, which recently dropped on Hulu on Friday, and then the movie The Hill not to be confused with the hill has eyes or anything like that. It's just the regular old fashioned hill, which is, by the way, like it's a dumb story, like dumb title of a movie. Like I don't know. I mean, but those are the two movies we're going to talk about. And then, of course, like we do every week, we're going to end it with some watch recommendations. And today's show is going to be top 3 soda rankings, which is going to be very interesting. Very, very excited about that. But without further ado, we're going to jump into the trailer of the week.
All right. When a peaceful colony on the edge of the galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of a tyrannical ruling force, Korra, a mysterious stranger living among the villagers, becomes their best hope for survival. Tasked with finding trained fighters who will unite with her and making an impossible stand against the mother world, Korra assembles a small band of warriors, outsiders, insurgents, peasants, and orphans of war from different worlds who share a common need for, and they cut off. Rebel Moon. I'm gonna go first this time. I was excited by this one. I mean, I've always been a big sci-fi person. So this feels like Dune. It feels like Star Trek. It feels like Star Wars. It feels like Gladiator. It feels like Troy. I mean, there's this mythology aspect to it. We know that Zack Snyder loves to world build and build around mythology of his characters. There's a lot in this trailer. A lot of great actors. It's a great cast. And from what I've seen from Zack and Netflix, they've been putting out pretty decent work. This one looks to be, the cream of the crop as far as what he's made with Netflix. Looks like it's high budget. The cinematography looks great. We see lightsabers. We see griffins. We see what looks almost like the little tyrannical group looks almost like Nazis at some point. A lot of symbolism. So, and this is going to be a 2-parter. The second part of it comes out in April of next year. This one comes out in December, I believe. Yeah, man, it looks like it's gonna be fun. And it's original. I think he originally pitched it for Disney, and they were like, "Nah," and he was like, "Bet." Netflix was good. It's your boy Snyder. I got a banger in the chamber. Yeah, so I'm excited.
I got a banger in my cult. Come on, tell me.
But yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. There's a lot of things that I want to know about. Who is this person? What is this this mythology going to be about? What are these hidden secrets? So it looks like it looks promising. I won't gas it up too much because it could turn out to be a flop, but it does look promising. What are your thoughts?
You know what? This looked like, look, if you watch the trailer without any sound, it looks very much like a Zack Snyder movie. Like, if you didn't even tell me the movie, give me a title or anything, you could be like, yeah, that's a Zack Snyder movie, 100%. Like, you're not even questioning it. It looks like a typical Zack Snyder movie. It looks larger than life. It's got the set pieces, the cool sequences. The biggest thing that I feel like I didn't get from this trailer was emotion. And I feel like Snyder does often struggle with that. In his movies, he struggles, and I'm maybe not the Snyder cut or whatever the hell that, but to me, like, I don't know, like I like Zack Snyder's type of filmmaking. I do think that he's got a nice artistic touch that brings a lot to the table. I do think that the chatter about the director's cut and all that shit really just is off-putting for me. Like, I just. Yeah. Like, you don't have to do those type of things, and this budget is absurd, and it looks like a blend of like Star Wars and like Game of Thrones, like mixed.
I think that's how he pitched it to Disney, was like a edgier Star Wars.
And I don't know. I'll watch it, but it's like I'm not exactly enamored, but like excited about it because it's kind of like whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like we've seen this type of movie before. I feel like what he came into this world groundbreaking 300 was just a revolutionary style of filmmaking and unique and different. And what was that movie he did a few years ago? What was that movie he did for Netflix?
You talking about? I mean, he had the zombie one. He had just done
Army of the Dead. I was not a fan of that.
And then he did the a spinoff of one of the characters.
But he only wrote that one, right? I think.
Yeah, like
Army of Thieves. Army
of
Thieves. Yeah, and I think Army of Thieves was much better than Army of the Dead was.
Yeah.
And he only did the screenplay on that one, but I don't know. I just feel like he needs to maybe get back to the simpler storylines that I think that makes. I don't know. Maybe it's just this.
I feel like that's what this may be. I feel like it may be building a big world, but I think the story seems somewhat simple as far as there's a girl who's prophesized to be, this the one who's supposed to stop all the war and destruction, and she gets lost somewhere. It ends up becoming some kind of warrior to an extent, and which also may be her fulfilling her prophecy without them realizing it. And it all seems to be narrated, by Anthony Hopkins. So that might be your emotion. That dude has made me cry over the past couple of years. And I'm really sad that part of it is like his age, and you realizing like this dude is so good and he's getting old. And we've seen recently that people keep dropping, and I don't wish any kind of harm to Anthony Hopkins. Someone please put him in a bubble or something. Because that dude, I don't tear up in movies a lot. I can feel the emotions, but something about Anthony Hopkins, the way he delivers things, I'm just like, why you know what, bro? Like, stop it. So maybe that's where it'll be. But yeah, I do get what you're saying. Sometimes when you put too many big actors, you want them all to have screen time, and sometimes that dilutes your story. Sometimes I do hope that was it Jamon? Is that how you pronounce his name? That dude does not get enough credit for what he does.
No, he never does.
Yeah, ever. And I'm pretty sure he's voiced it once before, and for good reason, because that dude, everything he's in, he does a phenomenal job. And I don't know why he's not leading a lot of these things, but hopefully that changes soon. Hopefully he has a big role in this movie. But yeah. It could be really, really good, or like,
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's the thing. Like, I never actively root for a film to be bad. I just feel like watching this trailer, it's very Zack Snyder, but I just hope that it infuses the emotion that I know that he's at least capable of writing. So that's what kind of what I'm hoping for with that. Speaking of mythical sci-fi style films, Dune 2 was delayed as a result of the studios not paying their actors and writers. I just want to throw that out there. That's literally the only reason why this is being delayed. We saw a massive shift of one of the biggest movies of the fall, and this is a big domino. This is an Oscar-winning domino. This is a film that you already checked so many different boxes on your scorecard at home, because it doesn't matter, as we saw with Dune, which a movie that I did not like very much at all. That talk about lack of emotion for me, like that didn't have any emotion at all, but it was a technical masterpiece on so many different levels. Very important film for Villanueva too, because it's a film that he wants to make money off of, because obviously he has a third film cooking and ready to leash in this series of Dune. But it's a big shift, November 3rd to March 15th. I do say this, that it's an interesting shift moving it to March, because for every level of the technical aspect of things, can it carry on all the way to the following December to be in awards people's eyes? Sure, you have the characters that'll be able to promote it, but this is a big domino in a big award season that opens the door for so many other films, especially on this technical side of things, that could, to be honest with you, this just looks like Oppenheimer. This is the greatest news that happened to that film. Made $900 million at the box office, because this opens the door for Oppenheimer to really kind of sweep those technical awards this entire season. So what are your thoughts on Dune 2 being delayed because, the studios can't pay their writers and actors?
I do think it's a good thing for the actors and writers to an extent, because I do think the studio goes, oh, we should move it back, because without them being able to push this for us, we're not going to make as much money. So they already admit that they need their cast, their crew, and all them to talk about the film, to advertise it more. So that's a +1 for the strike side. But yeah, that's what I think is kind of funny, is that you don't think that the name already being, we've known about this movie coming for a while, so you don't think that is enough to get you to where they want. I'm sure they want Barbie numbers, they want Oppenheimer numbers, but they're like, oh shit, we can't market because of the strike. Let's move it back. And
what up, Brandon Davis? Come on the show. Come join us sometime, my guy.
Hell yeah.
Right. Talk about yeah.
But yeah, they are admitting that they need to come up off them checks, man. Y'all got to write some checks. I think it's pretty clear. That's what y'all got to do. And I'm sure this is going to be a domino effect. We're going to see a lot more bigger films pushing, and we really don't know how long this strike is going to last. They say March. It could push back again to the summer, because I know initially they said, or like a couple weeks ago, they're like, we're ready for a 6-month strike at least. So there's no telling. I don't know if they came back to the table yet at all. If the last thing I heard, that the studios themselves haven't really talked with each other. So it's like, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Dune's cooked without the stars pushing it. Yeah, they had to push it. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, when we were talking about the star-studded cast that Zack Snyder put together, for Rebel Moon, for me, it's like you have these massive stars. You have Austin Butler coming off this strong awards campaign. You got Villanueva that needs this to be a smash hit to get this third one made. You have so many people in the forefront. You got Chalamet, you got Zendaya, you've got that. They've got giant popularity built behind them as well, along with the rest of the cast that you want to push it. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see, hopefully, some sort of resolution in the near future. But let's go ahead and switch over to our movie review of the week.
All right, let's start with a streamer. Let's start with this end of the summer wannabe hit, Vacation Friends 2. Marcus lands an all-expense paid trip to a Caribbean resort, and he and his wife Emily invite their uninhibited besties Ron and Kyla. But when Kyla's incarcerated father is released from San Quentin and shows up, things get out of control. Okay, so I'll let you go first on this one.
We were on this podcast 1 week ago this time talking about how excited we were for this movie. I watched this Tuesday. Yes, because we talked about it at the Hill screening. No, Wednesday. Wednesday. I watched it. And I have not been so disappointed in my entire life. There's just this off-the-wall unpredictability and humor in the first film that you didn't see coming that really made you enjoy what was going on. Lil Rel Howery and John Cena have this incredible chemistry that it's just great together. But everything within this sequel, there was a layer of predictability that continues to punch over and over and over again. The jokes didn't hit the same way the first one didn't. The outlandish stunts didn't hit the way that I loved in the first one. You have the introduction to Kylie's dad, Reese, who was played by Steve Buscemi, who I felt was completely out of place the entire movie. He didn't need to be in the movie. It was an added layer to the movie that didn't need to be there because you have all of these stakes. You have John Cena and his wife, they screw up everything. Why do you need to add another layer to that to screw up. Like, he's bringing them on this vacation. They could do enough stupid stuff together to cause animosity, to really kind of ramp it together. Not only did this movie fail to live up to the original, but it brings nothing different and fresh to the table at the end of the year. Like, this is something I was really, really excited for. Cena and Harry, I really wish that they could be in like a buddy cop together in a different universe or something like that, because they're hilarious together. Like, make them do something else different besides this. But this was god awful. Like, it was so bad. Like, I'm telling you guys, we talked about this. If you watched last week's show, we were talking about how amped we were about this, because you added it as your watch recommendation. The first one. Watch the first one in preparation for 2, and this is what we got. What did you think, Dom?
Man, I really sat down to watch this, and I was like, I'm ready to laugh. I'm ready to tell people about the crazy shit that happens. I wanted another weird mushroom cocaine trip, and I don't like. The funniest part is when they're at the airport, and then I'm like, oh, you're they're the pedophile. Watch out, like. And then I'm like, and then the rest of the movie, I didn't really laugh. Like, they diminished like John Cena's character so much. Like, everything that made him funny, all the weird little things he knew, like they just took it all away. Lil Rel's panic wasn't as panicky. I don't know what they were doing. Steve Buscemi is cool, but not in this movie. Like, I don't. Why is he trying to play a gangster? I don't get it. Nothing about him screams criminal mastermind. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm not scared of you. Like, what were they? I don't know. And then, like, I mean, it was already enough to add it. Oh, they have a kid that they're bringing, and they're bringing the old concierge from the first movie with them
to add nothing to the table.
Yeah, and then they could, but if they wanted to, they could have done something with it where he loses the baby, and then they try to find it, but they're still getting into weird, hijinks.
Very very weird stereotype of a role that they ended up using him for. That was really kind of messed up too. Like, that was
I really wanted to tell everybody that, like, after I watched it, like, hey man, the second one came out, but then I didn't tell anybody I watched it. I was embarrassed. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll pass. Like,
hard pass, man.
And I feel like they kind of took the wives out of it too. Like, their roles were very small, and their dynamic is really good too, because you have the straight man and the crazy man. Like, I don't know, man.
Dude, it's just so disappointing, because it was just like, so like when you get to the last like 15 minutes of this movie, first off, I wanted to just jump off the bridge of myself and drown myself in the water, because it was so bad. Like, it's just unredeemably bad. When you get to the scene where they're like have the gun pointed at him right before he is trying to get to the job or whatever, the entire scene, I'm just like, throw the entire movie away. Like,
like, murder everybody, movie over.
Exactly. Like, I hope it gets so badly reviewed that we do not get a third. Like, it's just unnecessary. Like,
if they do a third, no one's watching it. I haven't seen anybody be like, man, this is the one. It's not. How did you take John Cena's funny away?
He's on fire with how funny he is, and that's exactly.
And Lil Rel is literally a comedian, and you took his funny away. Like, the writing was not great. It is. I don't know.
It's the same writers. I don't know.
I know.
Maybe they weren't on the. Maybe they had better shrooms the first time around when they wrote it. I don't know.
Like, it's almost one of those things where maybe this should have been one of those sequels where they waited like 4 years to do, where you kind of forgot about the first one, and then you go, oh shit, they're making a sequel. Hell yeah. Yeah. And maybe the turnaround was too fast, because sheesh. Like, you would have thought that the writers were on strike when they made this movie, because holy shit.
The movie was written by AI itself.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of great movies, let's talk about the second great movie that we watched this week.
All right. The true story of Ricky Hill, the son of a traveling pastor who overcomes physical obstacles to pursue his dreams of playing baseball in the major leagues. The Hill. Okay. All right. We live in the Bible Belt, right?
Thanks, Brandon, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
appreciate you,
dropping
Brandon.
in, man. Come by anytime.
We live in the Bible Belt, so we're used to, a little bit of the Bible thumping, a little bit of the preachiness from time to time, whether it's commercials, whether it's in person, whether it's, down the street. This movie is one of the most heavy-handed religious films that I've seen that doesn't have Christ or God or pray in the title. I was expecting a sports movie. I don't care what religion you have that goes along with whatever your sports you're trying to do, but normally the sports is going to outweigh whatever religion is being pushed. But the meat of the story is mainly about the dad, trying to reconcile himself with how he feels about his son wanting to play baseball. I don't know, man. It didn't play well. The message, overall message, when you focus on like fatherhood, when you focus on on family and overcoming obstacles, some of those things hit, but overall, it's a swing and a miss, man. There's no home runs. It's mainly foul balls. I don't know what they were trying to do. Dennis Quaid, I love Dennis Quaid. Not in this movie, I don't. Colin Ford, who plays Ricky, we don't see him until the second hour of the movie. There's just a lot of things.
And he's on the poster.
Yeah.
He's on the poster.
I almost thought, was this one of those things where we hit the hokey doke where they're like, we want to attach his name, but he's only in the movie for 5 seconds? There's a cute little love story, but it doesn't really amount to much either.
It's so weird. They have a very odd, strange time jump in the love story that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And yeah.
That's what's crazy to me. That's why I put my written review. I was like, okay, you got a sports movie. This guy is supposed to be this hitting phenom, but you go from him being 9 years old to 17, 18 years old. I'm like, where happened? We didn't get to see him climb and see him become the great Ricky Hill. Just nah, he's good. Believe me. You saw him hitting rocks. He's good. I don't know, man. If they weren't trying to push a specific message, religious message, so hard, I think this could have been a good film. But I feel like they the same way people get mad about they're trying to push this message down our throat. That's what they're doing with this movie. They really wanted you to, I don't know, go to church, get back in church, pray. I don't know, but the sins of the father made this movie really bad. So I don't know what you got.
So the struggle that we see in the film, right? We see Jamie faced with the battle of his son trying to be a baseball player. It has strong elements to that story, right? Mm-hmm. Because the idea, and this has been an idea that has been around for a long, long time, right? You know what I mean? So many fathers and men of faith are so fixated on the idea of nothing outside of the book, right? That they lose sight that God and this God and the God that people talk about can use other people's work in those people outside of the things inside that book, right? Because he had it made up in his mind that Ricky was going to grow up and he was going to be a preacher just like him. He was going to preach. He was going to be a pastor. He was going to be a family man, and he was going to do everything exactly like he had, right? It's the tunnel vision, especially in that era, that there's and still that can run over now. You know what I mean? From these people from that generation that has hindered so many different people along the way. Imagine how many Jamie Hills there is back in the day where it was like, you can't do this. You have to do this because I'm your father. I'm telling you how to do this, et cetera, et cetera. Sure. For every Ricky Hill that there was out there, there was 50 more that did exactly what they were told to do. You know what I mean? Right. That's to me is the biggest part of the story is chase your dreams. You know what I mean? That's a solid part of the story. And what's crazy to me is you have this story that you're trying to build up And you know that at some point in time, Jamie has never seen his son play baseball. Never, ever seen his son play baseball. So you know that moment's going to come. And when it comes, it's so fucking stupid how it's done. This man just walks onto the baseball field in the middle of his son batting and is like halfway between the middle of the field and the audience. He's closer to the third base manager than he would be the audience, which makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? And this is supposed to be a major league tryout game. You know what I mean? Like, this is supposed to be legit, which that entire thing, it's no way it's real. There's no fucking way it's real. Like, that was so Hollywoodized. It was so bad. Like, you tried to get this emotion out of us in that moment, and you never earned that moment, right?
Nope.
The thing about it is, it's what's crazy is it was never like, to me, I never watched the trailer. I just was like, oh, cool. Failed, a guy tried to be a baseball player, blah, 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 which, I mean, he really never was a Major League Baseball player, but that's beside the point. That's a different conversation for a different day. But I didn't realize that this was going to be a faith-based film, because there's faith-based films that we've seen that are not bad. Like, there's good faith-based films. There's solid ones. However, this is not one of them. It's just an easy skip for me. It's just so overstuffed. And my God, why is it 2 hours long? It felt every bit of 2 hours. It felt longer than Oppenheimer was. You know what I mean? Like, it really did. Like, it's just so bad. There's so many bad acting moments in this. Like, Dennis Quaid, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, his accent was like, the accents were terrible. Yeah. Like, he was terrible. Can we stop?
Robot boy.
No. Every time that dude would say robot boy, they would zoom in on his face, and the noise was so loud. You pointed this out. We heard it too. Every time 9-year-old Ricky would get out of the car, you would hear clank, 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 like a fucking transformer or something like that. Like,
I don't know what. That's the one thing. That's the biggest thing for me that kept taking me out was like, okay, I understand he has leg braces. We see them, how he has to walk, how he can't move.
You don't need to make the noise.
Yeah, they make the noise louder than everything, and it's like, it makes it almost comical, and it's not supposed to be.
No, right. No, there's several times there's certain things, the way they're said, the way they're done. I said this after the movie. There are certain moments of this film that are not funny, but how it's written, how it's portrayed, and how it's acted, it's hilarious. And that's just a making of a god-awful, terrible movie. And that's exactly, like, the more I think about this movie, the more I hate this movie.
Yeah, and there's those moments that are very much like a Hallmark movie of like, how could this get worse? Rain, and then like, Father, I need your help, and then the tire buzz. It's like, it just too like you said, Hollywoodized for this story. And then you have the worst moment that, like you said, wasn't needed. Okay, they get helped by this rich family, and they pull up in this like 4-door Cadillac, long body. It's the 60s, and pull up big ass house. And they're like, expressing their gratitude. Thank you for helping us. The Lord like put us here so you could help us out. And then they have this like black nanny, and she speaks like it's the fucking 1920s or some shit. And I'm like, why the fuck was that? Like, I turned to Ricky and was like, bro, like, I want to leave. Like, what is this? And like you said, it wasn't needed. If you wanted to show that they had wealth, you already did that. Big ass house. A nice car, and every other house we saw in this movie was very small, modest, or run down. So just showing that was enough, but you had to put this in there for no fucking reason. And she's like, I spent I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, and it was such a bad moment. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth, because you're right. Like, when you pull up, you see these people. This house is like massive, right? And especially in this era, right? We're in this era, right? You know what I mean? This time frame is this back in the day. So if you had a house that big back in the day, I mean, you still have, if you have a house that big this day, but still back in that day, that showed you had real money. It's like you knew these things and aspects. And the other thing is, can we stop casting 20? Is there no teenage actors? This man is 26 years old. Colin Ford is 26 years old. Let's just say 25 for the sake of when they filmed this. Let's just say for the sake of it. Can we stop casting these people as 17-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids? Like, when we meet him, he's like 16.
Yeah.
That's 10. Like, he doesn't. You've got guys like full-grown mustaches looking like they're 35 in these teenager games. Man, it's terrible, man.
And it's not like this wasn't a movie where you needed like an older actor because they were going to do some sexual risque thing. No, like this is a faith-based film where none of that was going to happen. You might get a kiss, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know why he was needed. Because, yeah, did I look older when I was in high school? Yeah. But I was a one-off, you know what I mean? Like, there was a handful of us that had beards and shit or in high school, but typically when you're showing high schoolers in film and TV, especially when all the other kids look a certain way, it's going to be really weird to say, oh, no, he's supposed to be 17. Are you sure? He got a pension and 401k? Like,
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's so frustrating. It was just a frustrating movie because, and the thing about it is they should have made the entire movie from the 8 to 9-year-old through his high school, and then you do a montage at the end of the movie of him.
That's what I want
in the minor leagues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just do that. I want to see the build. I don't care about the tryout. I don't care about him making it to the minors, whatever he did. I want to see the importance of the build of how he got there. How did he overcome being in middle school playing baseball? How did he overcome playing high school with all this, all the issues that he had? It was kind of frustrating. I don't know.
And one of the most awkward or the most uncomfortable things for me was Scott Glenn. Yeah. He felt so out of place. The acting felt so bad. You gonna quit now? You're not ready for this. We don't want you. It was like,
don't you do that again, or I'll throw you off the foot, or throw you off this field, and you'll never play again.
You ready to quit yet? Like, just give up. I don't know, man. Like, and Scott, I've never seen him like that. It just feels like everybody showed up to this film set like it was the Sunday before Monday. Like you had to go to work, and they're just like, "What's my line? Okay, here. Get out of here, kid." Like no one. There was no besides the woman who played the wife and the grandmother, and a little bit of like country singer that was in it.
Yeah,
with the ADR issues. Like other than that, like everybody else was kind of like, sorry.
Yeah, man, it's just bad. Like I wouldn't recommend this to anybody to watch it ever. There's no reason. Not even 3 years from now when they throw it on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. There's an audience for that movie.
They've given it I've seen the Google users percentage is like 91%.
I mean, they were clapping after the movie was over, so I mean, but whatever. All right. Let's talk about some things that we watched that we liked. This week's watch recommendation, sponsored by. We don't have any sponsors.
Sponsored. Not just yet.
Sponsored by Pepsi. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. General Mills. You know what I mean? Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Sponsor us.
Hey, Snoop cereal. What's up?
Snoop cereal, right?
Master P, exactly.
Watch recommendations brought to you by Snoop cereal.
Hey, I love it.
Exactly. So this week, I'll kick it off with some watch recommendations for you guys. Movie-wise, Netflix. You are so not invited to my bat mitzvah. Just dropped on Netflix. It's really good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. I mean, you have the whole fucking Sandler family. You know, you've got Adam.
That's fucking awesome.
You got Adam. He got his wife. You got his 2 kids. And you got his daughter. What is it? I don't know. But which one? What was the lead one?
I think it might be Sadie.
I think Sadie was the lead, I believe, right? So
I think
so. She was fantastic. Like, so the thing about it was I didn't really watch the trailer, but I was just thinking Adam Sandler, Netflix. I was thinking stupid, hokey, dumb, stupid humor, right? This actually was really good. Like I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a cute little movie, had some good laughs. I thought it was a lot more mature than I kind of expected it would be too.
And I like that he stepped back and let them have it.
Yeah, he was there, and when he showed up, he was funny as shit. You know what I mean? Like he had some one-liners that delivered. So I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Highly recommend it. And then, of course, on the opposite end of the world, I've got this for my reality TV junkies. My show, The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, returned this week. First 8 episodes dropped on Netflix on Wednesday. Just watch it. It's trash. We love the trash. There's some good people on there. You know what I mean? It is what it is type of thing. So I really like The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On. The reunion and the final episodes drop this coming up Wednesday. What do you got for us this week, Dom?
Oh, real quick. It was Sonny Sadler who was the lead. Sonny.
Okay.
Eddie was the older sister.
Gotcha.
It was also funny. And I was trying to figure out if her and her friend were dating. I was like, I feel like they're going out, but I can't really tell. So for my movie, I actually it's funny because this is from today. I walked in from seeing Blue Beetle. My wife was watching the movie, and it was one of those like, "What you watching? Oh, that looked like trash." And then sit down like, "Oh shit, what happened? What? Oh shit. All right. Well, what about?" It's called Level 16. It's on Netflix. It has Katie Douglas, who is in Georgia and Jenny. She's also in Pretty Hard Cases. It's girls in a prison-like boarding school embark on a desperate search to uncover the awful truth behind their captivity, and we find out this shit is fucked up. It is it's kind of a like a expose on like our obsession with looking younger, and once you kind of figure out what's going on, and I only saw probably the last 45 to an hour of it. I don't know how long it is, but holy shit, I was like, this is fucked. It's kind of good. It's kind of good. I don't think a lot of people have seen it. I looked on the Rotten Tomatoes. I think there's only like 23 reviews, but they're all good reviews. I think it's got like an 80, 90 something. It came out like 2019. And then for my television shows, it's also Netflix, and it's also something I stumbled upon with my wife. She started watching it, and then I sat down, and it is reality. And I don't watch a lot of reality very often, but when I do, it's usually cooking. But this is the Down for Love. I think we watched something similar. I think it was Love on the Spectrum, I believe. This is essentially the same show. But it's really good. I mean, it's always fun to experience life that we don't live, a life through someone else's experiences, and seeing how someone with Down syndrome goes through their life, how they get to find love, because we all deserve it. And it's really fun. It's really sweet. And it kind of shows you that we're all more alike than we like to believe.
It's one of the ones that I haven't actually had a chance to catch yet. So I'm glad you said something about it, because I definitely put it on my radar here in the near future. So yeah, before we jump into our top 3 soda rankings this week, Dom and I got a screening on Tuesday. We're gonna go check out Bottoms, which the reviews have been pretty incredible, except for 2 white men that didn't love it, which means we'll probably love it. But other than that, then I'm going to go see Equalizer this week. No questions asked. I can't wait. Denzel's my dude. Always will be my dude. He's reuniting with Dakota. That should be really cool. I'm just ready to watch Denzel. I don't care if Denzel's 90 years old. That's the difference between Denzel and Liam Neeson. I'll go see Denzel beat people up until he's 150. Liam Neeson just needs to stop because it's just Liam Neeson. But I can't wait.
When are we going to get this movie of like the Expendables is their action over the top stars? When are we going to get like Equalizer meets John Wick meets like Ethan Hunt meets Jason Bourne? When are we going to get that movie?
What was his name in Taken? I don't even remember.
I don't even remember. I saw the first one too. I was like, all right.
Throw him in there too, though. You know.
Yeah, like when are we gonna get that? Like all the seasoned veterans. Like
I'm surprised that Liam Neeson's not in Expendables, though, right?
Right. He get beat up. Let's be real. These are a bunch of like brolic dudes that the older they get, they still look like they're on Muscle Beach. I don't know if he wants that smoke.
I'm excited to see 50 Cent in that movie, though.
50's a good actor, man. I just watched Get Rich or Die Trying again yesterday, and I was like, I forgot, man. 50, all right, 50.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about Equalizer. It should definitely be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about Bottoms. First off, I'm very excited about Bottoms because it has a runtime of an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
So that is already that's like 3 stars all by itself. You know what I mean? You can only go down from there if it's not funny. But yeah, definitely excited about the week ahead. But that being said, let's wrap this up with some. Dom, you ready, man? The top 3 prefix was saying I'm not much of a soda guy anymore, and I'm a loser, and I'm gonna have like some caffeine-free choices up in here because now I don't really drink soda that much anymore. Back in my heyday, I did too, but I've got one on here that you might not know about that I'm very excited to tell the world about. But Dom, give us your top 3 sodas, man.
Yeah, so this was easy for me because, like you, I don't drink a lot of soda. So when I do, there's only a few that I go for. Number 3 is the always refreshing. The one that's probably the most versatile, and that's Sprite. You want your mixed drinks. You want to put some lemonade in there, some fruit punch. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Number 2, whenever this is on the menu, even if I'm like, I'm not drinking soda tonight, if it's on there, I'm drinking it. That's root beer. I prefer Barks over Mug or A&W, but if it's there, I'm going to drink it. Number 1 is probably the blackest soda I could think of, and it's always a treat. Wink, wink. That's Tahitian treat. Number 1 for me.
I like it. I like it a lot. So for me, my number 3 is Orange Fanta.
That was just my number 4.
It's so good. Like there's something about it. It's just like it has to be good Orange Fanta too. Like, you know, and I will say the same thing about Sprite. Let me go ahead and put the bed. Sarah Mist is not even in the same ballpark as Sprite. Like it's a leave. And now I will say this, like, I guess Pepsi realized how terrible Sarah Mist was, and now they rebranded it as Starry, which actually I will say this, Starry is better than Sarah Mist, but nothing is as good as just like typing that top off of a Sprite and taking a sip. It's just the most incredible, amazing taste ever. And you're right. Like, you can use Sprite for fucking everything. You know what I mean? My number 1 is a drink that I think that only came out within like the last year or so, but it's Nitro Pepsi Vanilla. Okay. It is the best freaking soda ever created. I'm a very big like nitro cold brew type of guy already. Like, I think this stuff is delicious. Like, I'm gonna see if I can. Have you seen this stuff? Have you ever?
I've seen it. I'm not a big cola drinker, so I've never really dabbled too much anything outside of like a regular Coke or Pepsi that I don't really care for. But
like this stuff right here, man, I'm telling you, like this right here, I don't either. But there's just something. So basically, it's like you pop it, you got to pour it fast, like a beer almost. Right. And whenever you do, there's just something good about it. Like I said, I'm not a big soda guy either, but it's just got a smooth texture to it. Man, you have to have the vanilla one. Like, there's a regular version of it or something like that. But here it is right here. Like, you have to have that. But no, I just can't. I have to have the vanilla. I'm telling you, just try one. You have to. It's delicious.
I do remember when I was younger, I think it was either vanilla Coke or vanilla Pepsi, and something about it's like drinking a Coke float, you know.
Yeah.
Cola and vanilla does pair really well together, so I can see why that'd be really good.
Yeah, and it's just like that nitro with kind of infusion to it, so it's a little bit more crisper, and it's like a more like a creamier texture to it. It's really good. When I was a kid, man, I was a cherry Coke kid, man. I used to fuck out some cherry Coke when I was a kid. So
we just did me and the fam, I think last weekend before, we just did a fucking like Mountain Dew like taste test ranking. You know, all the kids love the S tier, God tier, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how many Mountain Dews there were. And there's legitimately like 10 or 12 of them. But I think Code Red won out. It's one of the first variations, and it's still fire.
Yeah, I've never. It's crazy enough. I've never been a Mountain Dew guy ever. I don't know what it is. I can't do it. But there's like so many damn fucking flavors of Mountain Dew. It's insane. But yeah. Well, folks, before we go, let's wrap it up one more time. My top 3 soda rankings were Nitro, Pepsi, Sprite, and Orange Fanta. What about you, Dom?
And mine were Sprite, root beer, and Tahitian treat.
We love it. We love it here. Folks, give us your thoughts on what your favorite sodas are. We gave you some great recommendations because the 2 movies we watched this week were not recommendable at all. No. But we watch the movies for you so that you don't have to. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day. Make sure to check out all of Dom's work over at Geeks 5 Nation. Check out my work wherever the hell you can find it on my link tree in my bio. And we'll talk to you guys next week.